Cardano ADA trying to make a little bit of a breakout out of a very important symmetrical triangle that we've been waiting weeks. We've been waiting weeks for this to set up. I want to talk about that in this video. 80-cent target to the upside. What I want to explore in this video is it real? Is it happening? Is this a confirmation? I think that's the question. We broke this upper trend line of the symmetrical triangle. I want to dissect the move right now and just talk about what I'm personally anticipating. So everybody, please hit the like, hit the subscribe. Let's just jump into the Cardano video. I appreciate you. Hope you're having a good week. I want to actually start with this clip. This is so important to what we're about to discuss. This was from December 10th, just over 2 weeks ago. Check. Might not necessarily be like ADA is just going to continue mooning, but this could be the established structure getting ready to happen that we're waiting for ADA. And what could that look like? It could look like the 20-day pulling into ADA, some type of formation here, some type of structure. I don't know what it would look like. Maybe we go a little higher, 65 cents, which we're going to talk about in the hourly chart. And then we're coming down, then we're trickling down, and we're up, and we're like in some type of symmetrical triangle. Boom, some type of symmetrical triangle. It's one of my favorite patterns. I'm not saying I called that, but it just is so typical of just consolidation in these higher highs, higher lows on the macro charts. Here's a symmetrical triangle. It happened. That analysis was heavily based off of Solana's prior moves. We were using Solana as a leading indicator in this video. And you can even see, I can go, this is what we were talking about. We were talking about this exact move on Solana that had already happened. You can see the Solana chart breaking out of a symmetrical triangle to the upside. Now, weeks later, Cardano has set up a very similar piece of structure. And this is the move I want to talk about now that it's occurring. First thing I want to do, before we even dive into what's going to happen next on the shorter term, I just want to make a point. Going over to the weekly chart, I'm not ignoring the very fact that right now we have the 200-week moving average, which is obvious huge resistance just above where ADA is right now. We can use this as a caution sign. We can also use it as a confirmation sign. If ADA somehow makes its way to this 80-cent target and explodes through this 200-week moving average, and we close a weekly candle above this, this is a macro indicator that will be massive for ADA. So that's the first point I want to make. The other point that I want to make, and then we're going to dig into the charts. The other point that I want to make is I want you to just look at this chart. This insanely bullish move, the 20-week moving average crossing the blue 50-week moving average. The last time this happened on ADA was all the way back here. It happened almost right exactly at the Bitcoin halving. You can see the 20-week crossing above the 50-week. Now, we're in a very similar move. This is a cycle shift move right here. But look at the momentum of ADA price it took to make the move happen. Boom. And then ADA pulled back into those moving averages, a healthy consolidation. We're very much in this move. I've been talking about, obviously, it's happening earlier this cycle around, but this is the move. But what I want to point out is this. After the 20-week moving average crossed that 50 right around Bitcoin halving, it took 63 days before the consolidation really just occurred, right? And it actually fell. 63 days later, it fell. If we go and we look at the chart now, this is just happening. The 20 above the 50. This is just happening. That's not to say we're going to have from this moment 63 days, but I just want to chart it real quick. That brings us into February. So the thing that I'm watching right now as ADA hovers at the same overbought territory that it was finally at then before falling. The question I have really is this: is ADA really going to defy that gravity? Because on the weekly, and this will be a first, this is a game changer. This is an insanely bullish indicator, a bullish indicator. If ADA does do this, breaking the 200-week moving average, continuing to go higher after being overbought in this similar scenario that we were back here, right? Before, meaning it's not going to pull back to these moving averages before going higher like it did back then, and like it so often does in any crypto. So I just want to point that out. That's on my mind. This is what I'm watching. I want to see, is ADA really going to hang out in overbought territory and keep going? But as you can see right there, there's reason for caution, right? Things have been overbought. It just is what it is. Now, as we prepare to go into the new year, we have a bit of structure on the zoomed in charts, and this is what we're looking at. So I want to discuss right now on the zoomed in what I'm watching on ADA. If we start on the daily, just want to note something. This last piece of consolidation, because this is where we really start taking historical context and really understanding the move that's happening. We already anticipated the move, symmetrical triangle, done. Now it's there. But you can see this last bit of consolidation as ADA pulled into the 20-day, similar to what just happened now, before going higher, 24 days of consolidation it took, right? We go and we just, I'm going back now into that Shelly move. Remember, we were just on the weekly. We were kind of comparing ADA right here and then going here. I'm just showing you a bullish chart on ADA historically, right? So this is back then, higher highs and higher lows. Look at this. It's stepping stones, up 29 days of consolidation, up 28 days of consolidation, up 18 days of consolidation, and there's the top, right? There's the top we just looked at for being overbought on the weekly back then. And then it consolidated 50%. That's a 50% move to the downside. I know it doesn't look like a lot, but swing high to swing low, 51%, everybody, before entering the bull market. That's valuable context right there in terms of where we are right now, because we're getting a similar vibe, right? We're coming out of a bear market low. It's stepping stones once again, and we're at these early stages. Stepping stones, 24 days of consolidation. Stepping stone to the next stepping stone. And how many days of consolidation are we in right now? 20 days of consolidation. So a break is getting ready to happen, but keep in mind, on that weekly chart, it is overbought. So I just want to say this. If ADA fails right here, on the daily, if ADA fails, doesn't break out to the upside, actually starts falling to the downside in a similar fashion to what happened back here, and if we go back to the daily chart even, to what happened back here, in my mind, that's okay. Because from a momentum oscillator perspective, from being overbought perspective, that's in play. But I'm just going to say this. Now we can start talking about upside. If ADA defies that gravity, and actually does continue to the upside right now and continues to an 80-cent target, this will be not only diverging from what ADA did in the last cycle, but all my years in crypto watching cryptos at this stage of a cycle. I'm talking about pre-Bitcoin halving, not in this post-Bitcoin halving bull market. Pre-Bitcoin halving, if this happens, this would be, I would say, a first for me and a first for markets. So let's talk about the move now. We got the breakout out of the symmetrical triangle. For me, I'm not always like, oh, I'm just 100%. This is it. We're going to our target. You know me. I'm not so easily sold. I like to see breakouts and then even just revisits to trend lines and even apexes. In this case, this triangle. So boom, and then continuation to the upside, really proving itself. And a really good example right here is you can actually see ADA just put in this change of character, which is a good first step. This is a Lux Algo indicator, change of character indicator. But there's one thing missing in terms of what I think could make it even more bullish. And if we actually go to this last piece of consolidation that we just looked at, and just to give you an idea, remember, we're talking about these stepping stones. So right now I'm going to dissect. This is the daily, but we're going to dig into this move and the breakout right here. This is what I'm looking for on the zoomed in, because this zoomed in chart that we're working with a symmetrical triangle, it's a 4-hour chart. So notice what happened though right before this massive breakout. So it's consolidating for over 20 days. We just talked about that. A lot of volatility there, right? Boom, 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 boom. And then it's this move right here. So here's the change of character move, which is very similar to kind of what we're getting right now. You see ADA just making kind of right here this move, this break to the upside, kind of starting to break and test this entire area. That's what's happening right now on the ADA chart, right? You can just see breaking this previous swing high, obviously not breaking this swing high, but this change of character occurring right now. And if we go back and we look at what was the next thing that happened, it was a change of character followed by a break of structure. Now notice what happened though. Change of character hit, retraces one last time, and then moves up. And then we start seeing these very short-term higher highs and higher lows. So that's kind of what I'm watching for right now in terms of ADA. There's potential where it's going to just maybe just see resistance now, go up a little bit more, throw back, and then start seeing support, start seeing higher highs and higher lows. We get a break of structure somewhere around here. And then where we have, I think, even a more bullish confirmation in an environment like that. So on the short term, I'm watching, and I'm talking about like right now as I record this video tonight. I'm just going to be watching the charts. I'm very curious what happens with ADA right now, because not only the resistance we've talked about so far, but if you actually look at this red rectangle I've charted here, that's that swing high that we had on December 13th to swing low. We're in this lower high resistance area, this Fibonacci resistance. So you can see swing high, swing low. We've revisited this area once. We retraced to this resistance area once and failed, came back down. So swing high, swing low, and now we're coming back into it again, right? So boom, we're at the resistance level right now. So I'm very curious to see on the very short term what ADA does. And that's tonight. This is what I'm watching. Is it going to break this area? It's a previous swing high resistance, but it's also just a pretty big short-term Fibonacci retracement resistance area. So there's a lot of resistance right now. Would absolutely love seeing ADA just explode through it, make its next parabolic move to the upside. A similar move to what we've been seeing with things like Solana, things like AVAX. Those charts, the Solana chart helped us really, truly anticipate, or they've really helped me anticipate this move of consolidation, pulling into the 20-day moving average just so nicely on the daily. But that doesn't mean just because it did what Solana did in that similar fashion, we're going to get the parabolic move that Solana got. Because now it's a test of, are we going to get all of these bullish confirmations that we're talking about on the shorter term? And that's what I'm watching for. So at key resistance right now, I'm going to be watching that tonight. Any type of throwback, I'd really be looking somewhere in the apex of the triangle. I mean, back down to 60, 61 cents wouldn't even be that odd. And that wouldn't mean it's a game changer for Cardano, and we're just definitely going to the downside. But it would be a big retest, an important retest for ADA to start making higher highs and higher lows off of that area. That's what I'm watching. Want to point this out. Maybe should have mentioned it sooner. 46, 45, 46 cent target to the downside. Fake breakout to the upside, fails, apex fails. Crypto consolidates going into January. That's in play. And to give you an idea and a little dose of reality from where ADA is right now, around a 25 to 30% move. Again, is that really anything? If it's falling back to that area, considering what we know happened last cycle in a very similar move, we're talking about a 50% fall, swing high to swing low. So 20 to 30% fall, 100% in play. But we'll see what happens all at these resistance areas. A long-term 200-week moving average resistance area. It's overbought. I think it's just good to be realistic. It's overbought. It's overbought. It's okay. It doesn't mean I'm bearish. It really doesn't. But it's okay, I think, to anticipate resistance at these areas. And then you go to the short term. There's resistance. But it's cool because as we try and watch these shorter-term stepping stones, we get shorter-term resistance areas that kind of give us a more immediate signal, right? So this is what we're looking at right now. This is short-term resistance, and I imagine, hopefully, we'll find out soon whether it's broken to the upside or ADA fails back to the downside. So this is what I'm watching now on Cardano charts, everybody, but wanted to share it with you. I hope that you're having a good week. If you're not a subscriber, please hit the subscribe, turn notifications on, and as always, everybody, your support means a ton. So thank you for watching the video. Thank you for liking the video if you're out there liking it. And I'll see you all in the next video. God bless.